Hello, it's Shosh. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm an energy healer, spirit worker, and medium. And today we're going to be talking about where to start when building a relationship with your ancestors. I'm going to be sharing some tips and wisdom that have helped me and sharing a bit about my own personal experience, but I want to pose a disclaimer first that there is no one truth, one way, one meaning to connecting with your ancestors. This is something that has been practiced for hundreds of thousands of years by different people, different cultural groups, different religious institutions. And, while those things may factor into this is a very individual relationship building type of practice. Today, I'm just going to be sharing my own personal truth about what a connection with your ancestors can look like, and we will be doing a practice at the end of this video to have you try and connect with your ancestors a bit. So take from this what works for you and leave what does not. I'm sharing my knowledge and some of my practices with the intention of sharing healing, growth, and deep spiritual connection. So let's get into it. What is ancestral veneration? Ancestral veneration is the practice of respecting, honoring, and uplifting those that came before us. It is recognizing your lineage, bloodline, and knot that brought you here and made your life possible. And this is a crucial practice for anyone looking to practice magic, connect to the unseen, take control of their own reality, or heal themselves. It's a type of honoring that, at least in my own experience of Western culture, has really been forgotten or that we've heavily disconnected from. So who are our ancestors? Who are we connecting to? Ancestors translates to those that came before or any person from whom one is descended. And don't get too tied to bloodlines because that tends to be a more colonial way of looking at our ancestral lines. Our ancestors are our bloodline, yes, but they're also our elders, friends, spirits of the land, cultural or religious spirits, deities, dragons. You can make of this whatever you want. You define this. I know for some specific traditions or cultural practices, bloodlines can matter, but overall when you're working on venerating your ancestors, they don't matter. Having photos and knowledge of these bloodlines can be helpful, but there are also many who do not know from whom which they descended. But this is exactly why this work is important, because in honoring your ancestors, you're opening up this connection to learn more about where you came from. You can ask for more information, names, past lives, anything like that. It's limitless. Something that I think is also important to acknowledge and understand when doing ancestral veneration is that you are also your own ancestor. And for me, this was one of the most mind-blowing things to realize. You are the culmination of all those that came before you. You should be honoring yourself as well. In many traditions, it is believed that spirits often reincarnate through the same bloodline, and this can be to balance familial karma, break generational curses. This can be to maintain specific initiations or traditions, pass down gifts in that bloodline. Although this is not the one truth or only belief that we pass down through the same bloodline. But in that thought, in that expression of a truth, you are your own ancestor because that could be your past life, a part of your soul, that was your great-grandmother or something like that. You are the spirit of those that came before you. You are a soul experiencing consciousness just like the rest of us, and we're all part of the same consciousness. Even just as a being of energy, honoring the other energy before you, you are honoring that energy that is yourself. So in offering your love and healing to those that came before you, you're healing yourself and all of those around you. So doing this work is about empowering yourself, knowing yourself, respecting all of the parts that make up the root of the self. Because while you are the self, you are also the whole. Ancestors are also the land that you're on, and I believe it's important to recognize the land that you're on and give it offerings. These can show up in a lot of different ways. You can have, house ghosts. These can be the trees, the mountains, the dirt, the animals that are around you. So I do believe a big part of ancestral veneration is learning about history of the land that you're on, learning how to properly give offerings, learning how to recognize those spirits and what it means for you to be there. You know, just go and sit with the land, sit at a park and listen for instructions. How can you give back to the land that you're on? Does that involve you, doing community work, paying rent to the tribe whose land you're on? Does this mean you educating yourself, giving offerings? Just, ask yourself what that looks like. Ask the spirits that are there what that looks like. I believe that all spirit work is a healthy balance of, doing your research, learning from mentors, finding resources, but also just forming your own specific connection with spirit. You shouldn't just listen to everything that everyone tells you to do. You should take it, reflect on it, ask if it resonates with you, and then learn how you're personally going to implement that. And if you're interested in doing ancestral veneration, start with asking why you're interested, why you feel excited. What is that intention that's there? Because what I have learned in my experience of doing this work, this is really deep work. You're breaking generational trauma or curses. You're building meaningful relations with your ancestors. You're doing deep inner shadow work to break down your own, biases and things that you've held on to that, your parents held on to, that their parents held on to, and you're breaking that down and finding ways to give reparations, finding ways to deeply heal your family line. And this is a daily practice that you're committing to. So once you start this work, I just want you to know that this is not something you just stop doing. This is a continual relationship to build. So that's why I think it's important to understand what your intentions are before you start doing this work. You are building a relationship in which you can ask for things, and they're gonna ask for things, and they're gonna tell you things that you may not want to hear that will lead you to the path that you're seeking. It's a beautiful, deep, it's this beautiful deepness of what a real relationship is, dedicated to honoring each other and honoring yourself. It's all about allowing. And it's not scary, I promise. You can take things at your own pace. So just start by putting that intention out there of wanting to connect and see what that feels like to you and see what you get back. Maybe you already do this in offering prayers, in cooking family recipes, and sitting with the trees. I will say though, this is a door, so when it's open, but choose how you want to start venerating. And again, you can take this at your own pace. Start as small as you'd like or as big as you'd like. So, choose how you personally want to do this. I really like altars and feeding my ancestors, which I'll talk about in another video, but that's not for everyone, and I don't advise you to pick up something just because someone else does it. Again, it's about learning as much as you can and then sitting with it and seeing what feels right to you and following your intuition. If you have cultural or religious practices that you feel called to, you should start practicing those. They can be very powerful for specific cultural ancestors. Just follow your excitement. I am going to lead you in a short meditation intuition practice now if you feel called. I will say if you made it this far in the video, you probably feel called to do this with me. But we're going to take some time to just try and forge our first connection here. In this meditation, I am going to ask you to call on certain spirits. If you haven't ever done this before, I just want you to know that it's as easy as it sounds, and it goes as far as your pure intention does. So really get comfortable, maybe do some breath work before you decide to do this, and don't do it if you feel uncomfortable. But when you're calling a spirit to you, resonate that from your heart. And you can do that either in your head, with your energy, with your brain, however you best imagine that, or you can do it out loud if that calls to you. So just know, again, we're making this all our own. We're doing what feels comfortable and what we feel intuitively guided to do. So we're gonna sit back now, close your eyes if that helps you. Allow yourself to feel relaxed and centered. Pay mind to your posture and how you're holding yourself. Allow your breath to deepen, slow down. Connect to yourself and all the feelings that your body is feeling now. You may already feel your ancestors around you. They may be with you, especially if they guided you to this video. Just allow them. Allow yourself to recognize the sensations within and around you. Connect your feet to the earth. Imagine roots growing down, grounding you, keeping you here, making you strong, connecting you to the energy of the land around you, to the earth, to your most ancient roots. I want you to call on protection now, on whatever that means to you. If your protection is angels or dragons or cultural ancestors or your higher self, or you just say, I call on protection of source. Imagine yourself with a white bubble of light around you. Imagine yourself being protected, having this healing, safe energy around you. It feels good. And now call in your ancestors. So you can call them all in if you want to. Just say, I call on my ancestors to be with me. Or if you don't feel ready or called to do that yet, you can call them in specifically by name. This is very powerful. They love it when you call by name. They will come right to you. So I do encourage you to do this if you have specific ancestors you want to connect to. You can ask to connect to cultural ancestors. You can ask to connect to the ancestors of the land that you're on. So I want you to go ahead and set that intention now, out loud in your heart center, however you feel called to do so. And allow their energy to surround you, be with you. Feel into what that's like. It might feel good. It might feel a little bit overwhelming. If you feel overwhelmed at all, remember you're always in control. When calling in spirits, you can ask them to politely give you a little bit of space. You can ask them to stand 5 feet, 10 feet away from you. You can ask them to come and give you a hug. You can always ask them to do these things. Spiritual boundaries are very important. And now I want you to ask them what you can do in your daily life to honor them, and listen for what they show, tell, or allow you to feel, whatever sensation they bring that to you within. Ancestors, what can I do to honor you in my daily life? The first thing that came to you, the first thing that you felt, smelt, heard, saw, whatever it was, start practicing that. You can ask them again. Sit with it longer. Whoever comes to you, allow it to flow. This is all about allowance and healthy energy, healing energy, this, intention of, I want to build this relationship. I want to honor you. Okay. So now we're going to thank our ancestors, say thank you, X name or ancestor, for showing up for me today. Thank you for being with me, for beginning to forge this connection. I love you, I respect you, I honor you. And you can say, thank you, you're allowed to go. Or whatever, however you feel called to state this. We say, my protection circle, my bubble is released. All right, so that's it. That's the end of the meditation. I know it was short, but you can practice this now on your own with however much time you want to give yourself to connect. I want to tell you, don't feel discouraged if you did not feel anything during that meditation, or maybe you felt something but you didn't receive the full message. Ancestral connections take a long time to build. It took me about a year to find the right vibration and connection to connect with a specific ancestor that I was hoping to get messages from. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it takes a longer time. If you're unsure of where to start, you can just start with a simple glass of water placed in the same place every day. Refill the water every day, don't use old water, and just sit with it for 5-10 minutes with your intention of connecting with your ancestors, or whichever specific ancestor you're trying to connect to. And write down what you feel, what's happening during that. It's gonna be a really simple way. Maybe light a candle if you feel called. But the practice of ancestral veneration is, how do you normally build connections in your everyday life? You talk to your friends often. That's how you maintain relationships. When you have a guest over, you offer them water or coffee or something to eat. So just start with that. And eventually you'll feel yourself being guided to offer other things. That's your ancestors telling you what to give to them. Remember that your intuition is a way of connecting with them. You may not hear or see or have this huge epiphany. It may just be like, I'm at the store and I see these flowers. I feel like I should get them to offer. Get them, offer them. Build that connection. And again, there are land ancestors. Go and pick up garbage in your neighborhood. Offer food, birdseed, whatever it is, to the animals that are around your home. Go and sing to the trees. Get into a daily practice. Establish where and how you're going to make that connection, and just be specific about the time and where you're doing it. Always go to the same place and build the energy of that veneration there. Do this for a few weeks, see how it feels, and then maybe change and try something else or build off of that. And again, doing spirit work is just as much about listening to whatever I'm telling you and whoever else tells you something else, like learning, gathering what feels good to you, but just following your own intuition, doing what feels right for you, even if it's something that you've never seen anyone do before or it seems weird. Just follow that and respect yourself, your own wisdom and knowledge within that. So good luck. I really hope that this video helps you all out today. I'm going to be making so many more videos about ancestors and ancestral veneration. I have a lot of, of my own personal experience. I have a lot of thoughts. I have so much that I want to share on this. So if you do have any questions or want me to make a video specifically expanding on anything further here that I talked about today, leave me a comment below. I'd love to interact with you all, and thank you. Good luck on this journey. If you do want a little bit of extra one-on-one help, I do of course offer sessions on my website, which I will link down below, otherworldlyarchive.com. I love helping people connect to their ancestors, especially because I think some folks really do want someone with them to help step them through it or help them make that initial connection. I don't think that's a bad thing. I believe you can do this all on your own. I also believe I can help you with this. So if you feel called or want a little extra help, you can book a session with me one-on-one with the link down below. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day or evening.